everybody. I am Chibi Joe, and we are back with a writer's journey. I know I took like a couple weeks off. It was the holiday season. Plus, I am slowly getting things together so I can start my job. I actually have a job now, and I haven't started the job, but we're waiting for some paperwork to come back on my my on-screen or my occupational screenings and stuff like that, like my drug screenings, vaccines, and all that. You don't care about any of that though, and really, you're hearing this after my Elder Scrolls reading, but this is more of a conversational video than anything, so I felt it was more appropriate to say that here, even though it's the second video of the week, rather than on the Elder Scrolls reading, because that one is definitely more, I guess, like, objective based, because I'm just specifically reading. I may make comments if I'm, like, laughing or whatever, or if I mess up. I kind of like the more raw style. A lot of people don't like that. I think that's why a lot of people unsubscribe from me, is because I don't really edit videos, except for, like, the audio dramas and things of that nature, because I kind of have to. But in terms of videos like that I'm doing now, I definitely prefer more... of, like, the raw style. And, showing you guys like any mess ups or pauses or whatever, because it feels more real to me, and I think that's why I like podcasts so much, is that podcasts are less edited. Hi Furnace. Anyways, that's not why you guys are here. I was just kind of, making excuses of why I didn't make videos for a bit. So today, for the writer's journey, we're gonna go back to an original story. I was going to do my Pokemon fan fiction. And then I was going to do my Naruto fan fiction, which I think is the one I mentioned in the Blue Exorcist video. But I kind of forgot about a book I wrote in high school. So I don't remember what it was called, but it was going to be like a 7-book series. I might actually still write this if I ever, like, decide to. But it was like a Demon Hunter story. And it followed Evan Kaga, Dante something, I can't remember his last name. And then they each had, like, a girlfriend. Dante was dating, like, a vampire chick, because my friend who created Dante really liked vampire chicks at the time. He probably still does. But him and I really don't talk about that. He's one of my few friends where I actually talk about adult things with. And yeah, so he, I think I'm the one who acquired the vampire taste from him, because I really, that's probably a bad way to put it. This is definitely going to be a lot more of a relaxed writer's journey, which is why I said, like, I would totally write this again. I would just definitely change, like, everything about it. So, like, there was, like, holy artifacts involved, and he was, like, a treasure hunter, kind of. Like, not, like, full-on Indiana Jones, but, like, combine Van Helsing with Indiana Jones. I think it's a good way to make, like, an idea, to get, like, the idea of who Dante is. Evan was, like, kind of, like, I guess you could say, like, almost like a paladin. Like, he wasn't really much of a demon hunter. He was more of a demon killer. I was going to say demon slayer, but that's already been done. And I remember I told this to one of my friends, like, oh, you copied Demon Slayer. It's like, well, no, because I was in high school. It was, like, sophomore, junior year, because that's when I was really writing books. It was, like, sophomore, junior year. And so I would have been, like, 15, like, anywhere from 15 to 17. And I think Demon Slayer was written in like 2018. I don't know. Someone fact checked me on that, but I think it was like 2017, 2018. So there was quite a few years in between, because that was at most 14 years ago and at least like 12 years ago. So no, I did not copy Demon Slayer, but it had a similar concept. They were like on the island of within the Bermuda Triangle, because like everyone like hyped up like how scary the Bermuda Triangle was. And literally the entire story was just them fighting demons. There was no, like, I think there was, like, a story. I think there was, like, some kind of story, but I couldn't come up with one. It was more of, like, story arcs within a book. It was very shonen anime-esque. Like, there was no, like, ultimate villain. Except, I guess, like, you could say, like, Satan was like the ultimate villain, but like even then I remember making the decision that Satan never shows up, because why would he? I feel like I think back then, like, I felt like it was an easy choice to be like, oh, the devil, jelly side down. For those who don't know that reference, there's an M. Night Shyamalan movie called Devil. And the one guy is like, if you drop your sandwich and it lands jelly side down, that means the devil's around. And I'm like, that's such an oddly specific thing for the devil. For like, the symbol of the devil is just jelly side down. It's like, oh man, the devil slightly inconvenienced my lunch. Like, if you want to, like, insult the devil, I think that's the greatest way to do it. Is just like, oh man, he inconveniences my sandwich making by falling jelly side down. It's also a waste of jelly. It's like, oh man, I feel a really scary presence right now. Let me put some jelly on some bread. Anyways, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. So like, I remember my friend Dustin, who made Dante. And most likely he came up with the name Dante because of Dante's Inferno, because that was like all my friends' favorite games. Strangely enough, it wasn't because they show naked women. I'm equally as shocked as you guys, because that would have been my reason, because I was that kind of teenager. I think a lot of people were that kind of teenager, so I probably shouldn't be like, oh man, I was so weird. It's like, nah, probably a lot of teenagers were awkward like that. But yeah, no, like, I didn't have Dante's Inferno, and the only reason I didn't have Dante's Inferno is because I really didn't like that style of game, which is weird, because I love Devil May Cry, and it's basically Devil May Cry, but Dante's Inferno. I guess a closer comparison would be God of War, like in terms of like themes and stuff like that. So like, Dante's main weapon was like this wristband crossbow, because my friend loved Van Helsing, like loved the Hugh Jackman movie, which I did too. I haven't watched it in years, so it's probably not that good, but I remember loving it as a teenager. So he had like a crossbow, and then of course, my character had the Gauntlet of Zeus, because apparently that was a thing, which was just like a gauntlet that had lightning powers, because the lightning is cool. With me as a kid, it was either like my character had fire powers or they had lightning powers. I think the only exception was Wildpaw and the Blade Warriors series. He didn't have those. I think he just had power over like vines and shit. Like he had strong druid energy. So yeah, like It's always weird when I have to like stop a recording halfway through because I got to remember what I'm talking about. So I think I was talking about their weapons, right? And he also has Evan Kaiga has this like sword, because of course he does, because I love swords. I think swords are just like really freaking cool. Always have. Like I'm trying to think like what my first like exposure to swords were. I would say Star Wars, but I don't think that's accurate. You know what it was? It was Ronin Warriors. We're talking a lot about like random things that have nothing to do with my book. Ronin Warriors was my first experience with swords, I believe. That feels more right, at least. So yeah, for those who don't know what Ronin Warriors are, it is an old anime, and I love it. I still love it. It's weird, it's cheesy, it's really poorly written, especially if you watch the English dub, but it's fun, and that's what matters. But yeah, Ronin Warriors was like my first exposure to like swords. So like I have this like affiliation with katanas. So he has a katana. I think it was supposed to be Excalibur. I could be wrong. And like Excalibur changes into whatever you need it to. And then like he's dating this girl who's like a priestess. And yeah, that's about as far as we got. It was gonna be like a 7-8 book series. And I would totally go back. It's kind of like Nightmare, where it's like, yeah, I could rewrite this concept, but it would be completely different. It would be like a completely different story, different characters, different like story structure. Like everything would be different. It would not be recognizable. But yeah. So that's this episode of Writer's Journey. Again, sorry for like the absence. It wasn't like my original intent. It just sort of happened that way. But yeah, so I will see you guys tomorrow with the Chibi Joe Art Show. See ya.